All right. Ready? All right. Here we go. First part about building your mission statement. There is one thing that you need to focus on first, and it's identifying what you feel connected to. So take and make a list. You guys are going to create a list, and your list is going to be nothing more than just a short, it can be 1 or 2 words. You don't overthink this activity as well. Just don't overthink it. So identify what you feel connected to. What topics are you drawn to? What in your life is most important to you? Which causes are you most passionate about? Right? What impact do you desire to have on others or the world? Yes, I know I got typos in this. It's just I did this in a haste last time we did Ignite. But just write down 1 or 2 words, 3 or 4, 5 or 6, whatever comes to your mind that revolves around this aspect. And again, don't overthink it. It's pretty simple, right? What are you drawn to? Who or what is most important to you? Which causes are you most passionate about and why? And what impact do you desire to have on others in the world? Just take a minute, write down 1 or 2, 3 or 4, 5 or 6 words. Again, don't overthink it. Keep it simple. This isn't very hard to do. You guys got your list? You guys got those written down? You can always go back and adjust this. Don't freak out. Don't panic at it. It's not anything super challenging here. All right. All right. Next list. We're going to make one more list. Your next list is we want to uncover your unique gifts. So now we're going to make a list and we're going to write down the things that come easy to you. What gives you energy? What fuels you personally? Right? I know I have some people that they're runners. They love running. It could be fitness, it could be reading, it could be anything, to be honest with you. Just what comes easy to you? What gives you energy? What fuels your life? Is there something that you enjoy doing? So, for example, I'm dropping everything this evening, jumping on here, and I will teach this session, and I'll do it whether I'm getting paid to do it or not, right? It doesn't matter because this is something that I'm passionate about. I enjoy teaching, I enjoy training. I'm a coach, I'm a trainer. I've been a market center tech trainer. I've been in leadership for 7 years. So I'm always pouring into our agents on a regular basis. So, what's one thing you would do, whether you're getting paid for it or not? And then think about it. If your creator came to you in a dream and told you that you were put on this earth for a specific purpose, what would they say? What's that purpose? What do you guys think? What is that gift that you have? What's that uniqueness about you? What sets you apart from other people? All right, you guys got your list? We got 2 lists now, right? All right, ready to build your mission statement, if I can speak clearly. Just write this sentence out. This is all you have to do is write this sentence out. See some people saying they're having a hard time hearing me. Check your volume. Anybody else having a hard time hearing me? Everyone else good? It can't go much higher, folks. Otherwise, I'll blow out some eardrums, probably, to be honest with you. All right. Write this statement down, and then you're just going to fill in the blanks from your two lists. The first blank is going to be list 1. The second blank is list 2. So the mission for my life is to, and then you're going to use something from list 1. You're going to do something I have a passion for. So what is it? What's that passion you have from list 1? What's that one thing? Or 2, you can use more than 1 if you want to. But the mission for my life is to fill in the blank by implementing or through or with one or more of your unique gifts. So what are we doing? What's that passion that we have that we're going to share with the world? And then how are we going to share it with them? What's the unique gift that we have? Maybe it's just compassion. Maybe it's public speaking. Maybe it's, I don't know. What is it? Again, don't overthink it. It's not complicated. Write it down. Keep working with it. Many of you will probably be very impressed with what you come up with right now compared to, well, what you had before, which was probably nothing. But your value proposition that we talked about before, and we're going to talk about it during this session because you need a value proposition to give to the consumer. Like, what is it that you're giving them? What's setting you apart from other people or really other agents, right? Everybody on this call is a real estate agent. So if I was to interview any number of you, what's one thing that's going to set you apart from everybody else? When you determine what this mission statement is for you, you're going to be able to build your value proposition, which is then going to be able to make sure that you're set apart from everybody else. Make sense? Anybody have anything that they want to share? Maybe something that they came up with that actually really resonates with you, something that you're like, hey, this is actually really me and I like it. Anyone? It's all right. You don't have to. No pressure. It's okay.
I have one.
All right. What do you got, Angie?
The mission for my life is to educate and advocate for my clients so they can find their forever homes for all their family needs while implementing a positive, compassionate, family nurturing environment for my clients.
There you go. How do you feel about it? How do you feel when you read that aloud like that?
It's kind of what I do. I'm known for advocacy. So yeah, I work with a lot of special needs clients. So
Okay.
yeah, it's me.
All right. All right. I like it. I like it. All right. You guys ready to jump into some more content? Who found this? Anybody else want to share before I move on? Or just have a feedback in general? Was this helpful for you to figure out where you are, who you are, and how you can move forward that value proposition, which is the number one thing we all need in our lives right now is value proposition. We've always needed it, but with all the changes we have coming about with the settlements, you know, all the NAR stuff and things like that, this is even more beneficial to you, is focusing on that value proposition. So, all right. Nobody else wants to share? Thank you for sharing, Angie. All right. Very good. All right. Let's jump into some other content then. So tonight we're going to get into talking about A sellers. I believe you guys had spoken previously in other classes about grading or rating your clients or your leads and your contacts. Is that correct? A, B, C, you know, they're ready now. They'll be ready in the future. They're never going to be ready. However, whomever taught, I'm sure they use some type of language like that. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to get into that A seller. What is an A seller? We're also going to go over how to get the appointment. We're going to have conversation around the process of making the contact, creating the lead, turning it into a contact, and going to the appointment. We're going to talk about what the pre-listing package looks like. And now keep in mind, I'm going to give you some ideas and some content that you can use, but you have to build your business the way you want to run your business. So follow this, take pieces from it, take it from everybody else. I highly encourage you all to talk to other agents inside of your market centers who are listing agents, buyer agents, and just ask them, what are they doing? How do they ask to sit in on a listing appointment? Ask to sit in on a buyer consultation, right? Watch what other people are doing in those environments and then take the little bits and pieces. Who here has done open houses? And I'm sure you guys shadowed somebody, right? And said, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to follow you around and see what happens. Hopefully you followed more than one. So if you saw 2 or 3 or 4 different people, you then took each piece that you liked from those 2, 3, 4 different people, and then you made your own process of doing your open house. Is that fair? Do the same thing with your listing presentations and your buyer consultations. Go find out what other people are doing and then take the things that you like and go and do them yourself. What is a listing agreement? We're going to get a little bit about that as well. I'm going to have to bounce to another slide deck briefly, only because I want to share it in this class, just like I shared it in the other class. All right. So while leads are vital to your sales business, seller listings are crucial to your ability to build it to its highest level with the lowest cost and highest net. What's that mean to you guys? Why are listings so important? And do listings actually cost less than buyers? Are sellers cheaper than buyers? What do you guys think? Buyers come to you. They can. You should be out looking for them too. Less time with sellers. Less hours worked. Okay. So we're on the right path. Everything we do in this business, just like anything else, I assume many of you are dual career. That's typically our main focus. Not everybody. Most people in this evening thing are dual career because this is the best time for you to get training. So those of you that have another job, right? Time is valuable to you. Well, guess what? Time is valuable to a seller and time is valuable to a buyer as well. You, as a real estate professional, time is valuable to you. Everything you do should be based on some type of hourly concept, if you will. And buyers, I just had this conversation, matter of fact, if I go out with a buyer and somebody calls me, right? Lisa calls me up and says, hey, I want to go look at these 3 houses. What's the average time I'm going to spend showing those 3 houses to her? What do you think it's going to be? 3 hours. That's about right. 3 to 4, if you think about it, because it depends on how far away it is. I'm going to have a 20 to 30 minute ride out there. I'm going to have a 20 to 30 minute ride back home when I'm done. So there's 1 hour. And each house, I'm probably going to schedule in 45-minute increments. So there's another 2.5, almost 3 hours a day. You could spend up to 4 hours with one buyer showing 4 houses. And that's really going to be dependent upon how far apart they are and various things like that. Yet that's 4 hours of my day that I'm not doing any other business. If I go on a listing appointment, how long do I spend on a listing appointment? What do you guys think? 1 hour, an hour, 1 to 2, 30 minutes. Kate, if you're doing 30-minute listing appointments, I want to talk to you and find out how you're doing that. It's not impossible. I tease. It's not impossible. Yes, you're spending anywhere from 1 to 2 hours on a listing appointment. I can get more listing appointments in a day than I can showing properties. So time is one of the biggest values in that. So that's where the expenses come in that aspect. So they're definitely the cheaper way to be. All right. So let's talk about that A qualified seller. I almost said buyer because I did buyers last night and it's still in my brain. So if I say buyer, somebody yell at me and keep me straight. All right. What is an A buyer? What do you guys think? What's an A buyer? What's that mean to you guys? $10 to 14 days out. So we're getting a time frame. Ready, willing, and able. There it is. They need to be ready, willing, and able. What does that mean, though? What does ready, willing, and able mean? Time-wise isn't really a big deal. I know on here it says 14 days, yet time-wise can be anywhere. But for them, life, they're just slow. They don't make it a priority, but they're ready, willing, and able. So they're an A buyer or an A seller. But what helps make them a ready, willing, and able? What are some of those parameters? Motivated to sell with urgency. Need to list now. All right. Motivations are cool. Signed listing agreement. That's what we want all the time anyways, is a signed listing agreement, right? I like that. So this means that they're financially able to complete the transaction. They're not getting foreclosed on. They don't owe more on the house than it's worth. So it's not going to end up being a short sale or something like that. Ashley, I see you put in here, a house is in proper condition. Yes, we want to make sure the house is ready to go, because that's a big factor too. Because if it's not in the best of shape, we're not going to get the best money for it. It's probably going to sit longer. So there's factors around that as well we need to take in consideration. Financial means to do the transaction, ready and motivated to make the decisions they need to make now, and they're willing to take the action now. Now, again, 14 days or so is probably really a tight A buyer. But if somebody's ready to do something in the next 30 days, they're an A buyer or an A seller too. 60 days is an A seller. They might be like, look, I'm going to be out of town. I got to get the house emptied out. Like, they're doing stuff. They just need time to get it done. So don't focus so much on a time frame. Focus more on their willingness, their ability, and the actions that they're taking, right? That's what's going to give us that A seller. So, and our goal is for all our seller leads is to get an appointment so that we can get the listing agreement and sell the house. That's our priority, right? That's what we want to do, is we want to get in and get the appointment. Got to keep an eye on people popping in and out of here. The 3 L's of the MREA. First off, who knows what the MREA is? Couple of us, every one of us, right? Who's read it? Don't lie. Completely? More than once? Okay. Read it more than once. If you're not a big reader like me, listen to it. It's actually a little bit more entertaining when you listen to it, in my mind. And I can make it go faster. So it's great to, hear the high pitched voices. It's like I'm watching a cartoon. So it keeps me entertained a little bit. But definitely read it. Definitely stay on top of it. So what are the 3 L's of the MREA, right? Leads, listing, leverage. What does that mean? You guys said you read the book. Come on now. Lisa, don't be raising your hand like that. I look, don't make me come to Columbia. All right. Leads is obvious. We need leads. We need seller leads, right? Listings. Well, we get the leads, we get the listings, we get the appointment. We want to be able to go on those listings. What's the leverage part? What's the leverage part of that?
Getting other people to help you.
Okay. Getting other people to help you. What are some other ways to, what are some of the areas that somebody can help you on those to leverage that out?
Maybe have people show your listings or have open houses for you.
All right. So have other people host your open houses, so you don't have to worry about it as much. Another way is leveraging your paperwork. Maybe having an assistant having a company that will do some of your paperwork, things that you can take off your plate so you can give more attention to your sellers and focus more on the transaction and not so much the administrative stuff. So focus on the leads first, then work into everything else. All right. So virtues of a seller listing. What does that mean? What are the virtues of a seller listing? Seller listings means marketing opportunities. How are listings a marketing opportunity? Well, how can you capitalize off of that?
If you market it, others can see it and they'll be more inquired to reach out to you and you can get more business that way.
There you go. That sums it up. We can get a little bit more detailed. I see in the chat, we're talking about having open houses. So it gives me something to put out to the consumers, allows me to get in front of more consumers. So at least I know you put in the comment that buyers come to you. They come to you if you're marketing though. So if I'm not doing anything, buyers just aren't going to just show up at my front door. But if I'm doing the open houses, and I'm promoting my listings, I've got I'm looking right now. Door knocking, one of my favorite. Alexa, signs everywhere. MLS, Zillow, Realtor.com. Tell me more about the signs. What kind of signs? And I'm missing one thing in this chat.
The for sale signs, like the lead-in signs.
Your yard signs, right?
Yeah.
My
Mhm.
yard sign goes out front, big old for sale sign, got my pretty little mug on it, right? Hey, it's me. Come buy this house. Right. I got signs in the yard, open houses. I'm putting signs all over the community, the neighborhood. Yes, syndication, your MLS is going to syndicate to other sites. It's going to put it in front of more people. And then your name is going to be hopefully the one associated with on those other sites. Be mindful, not all those syndicated sites. You're the one that gets contacted when people click the button. It's who's paying the leads from those sites. Oh, there it is. I see it now. I was waiting for it to pop up. Social media. Social media is your bag. That's your gold right there. Get into the social media and start marketing to it. Again, even if I have a buyer, right, I can market that I'm working with the buyer. If I have a listing, I can just put a different picture up every day. Check out this kitchen, check out the view from the deck. You have the ability to market so much on social media with listings than you do with buyers. I mean, don't get me wrong. Every time you go out to show a house, you can take photos or post that you're showing homes and things like that. Social media is one of the great ways to get some marketing done for both sides of the fence. So you have more control of your time. We already kind of talked about that. When do buyers go look at homes?
All the time.
Right now, which is why there's 100 people and not 200 people on this call, because the other 100 people are probably out showing property, right? Evenings and weekends. Thank you, Ashley. Evenings and weekends, they're out doing that. With sellers, yeah, I'm still going to go on appointments, probably on an evening or a weekend. Yet I'm going to pop in on that appointment, do what I got to do, get my listing agreement signed, and then I'm done. Short of going back and making sure my sign is done, but that gets leverage. I hire somebody to do that. I hire somebody to take photos. I may or may not be there for the photos. My seller might be like, no, I'll take care of it. Just have them come out. I may need to be there and make sure it's staged properly, whatever the case may be. So I have more control of my time when it comes to listings. Seller listings maximize your per hour compensation. That feeds right back in the number 2, right? I've got more time, more control of my time. I can get to more sellers than I can to buyers in one day. I'm going to maximize my income in that aspect. Volume, volume, volume. What do we mean by volume, volume, volume?
Get as many contacts as you can.
What's that?
Get as many contacts and leads as much as you can.
Yes, you're in the right ballpark, right? I can do more listings and I can work with more sellers than I can with buyers. So I can actually have 12 listings out there and just make phone calls and stay in touch with my seller. I'm really simplifying it for you. Yet I just have a weekly check-in with my sellers. I don't need to go to the house that often. I would recommend that you go, frequently to make sure everything's good, particularly if it's a vacant home. If it's occupied, you don't have to worry about it. If it's vacant, you want to check on it probably weekly. But I can have 12 listings out there and kind of just sit back and manage those 12 listings. If I have 12 buyers and I already know one outing is going to be 4 hours or more, depending on how many homes I show, right? What if you're doing 5 houses? I'm out for like 6-7 hours with one buyer potentially. So my volume of business is less with a buyer. So focusing on the listing side, I can do more if I focus on listings. With seller listings, you are on the front end of pricing. What does that mean?
Make the market.
What's that? This basically just means that I have more knowledge on pricing. I've got my finger more on the pulse of pricing over a buyer agent. Now, it's kind of unfair to say that, and I'll tell you why. Because as a buyer agent, you should be running your CMAs on every house, and you should know the market just as well as a listing agent does. Yet, as a listing agent, my job is to go in and actually say, hey, the market is telling me your home's value is here. This is where I think we're at. So I'm going to have more input and more influence on the market as a listing agent than a buyer agent. Because as a buyer agent, really, I'm just going to go in with my buyer and go, well, they're asking this. From what I can tell, they're probably in the right price point. That's it. I'm just either confirming or denying, and then I'm going to find out what my buyer's buying power is, and I'm going to make the offer on based on what they want. As a listing agent, I actually need to really know what the value is in any given area so that we make sure we're pricing the house correctly. Properly marketed seller listings bring you more business. Why is that? Word of mouth. What else? It's even more than that. Word of mouth is great because you're just out there going, I sold another one. I sold another one. In the other aspect, we're actually sitting out there and we're marketing ourselves. And by the way, for every listing you have, how many pieces of business should you ultimately end up with every listing you put on the market? What do you guys think? 2? I see a 2 in the chat. Do I hear a 3? Do I hear a 4? Do I hear a 5? Now I'm like beating. So typically it's about 3 to 5. Lisa's in there. 3 to 5. Realistically, it's more 3. More often than not, I don't want to give a percentage to it. I know the numbers are out there. I just don't know what they are. But more often than not, you are going to get 2 transactions from one listing. Why do you think that is? Automatically from the start.
Buy and sell, maybe?
That's correct. If I'm selling a house, where am I going to live when I sell it? Not everybody moves out of state, right? They're either
You need to buy another.
downgrading, right? I just got a raise, had a baby, I got divorced, my job changed, I'm going west, I'm going east. Most of your sellers are probably going to buy and sell. So you're getting 2 transactions from that. Not all the time. And when you're hosting those open houses, when you're marketing those listings, are buyers going to call you directly? Yeah, you think?
They might.
Yeah. If a buyer calls me directly, I now have the ability to actually have that conversation, set the appointment. They liked my house, might not have been for them, yet I now have the ability to pitch my services to them and pick up another client that way. So on average, on a listing, you're going to get anywhere from 3 to 4 pieces of business. So listings is your main focus when it comes to our business because you get more from it. There you go. Erica says, I got that now. Selling and buying, right? All right. So what are the 7 steps to a seller service circle? Very first thing is lead conversion. Lead conversion. We need a lead generated on a regular basis. Make sure we're doing our lead follow-up. And from our lead follow-up, we will be able to generate our leads into actual contacts, right? So let me give you guys a little bit. Do I have it? I do have it still next to me from last night. Let me give you guys a quick little thing. Again, I got to bring up a different deck real quick, but it only took a second because I did this last night. One of the things that I focus on when it comes to buyers and sellers is how important do you guys feel about what we say? What do you guys think? How important it is about what we say? Not important. Okay, fair enough. It's not important. We'll move on. Let me change this. Get back to my chat where I can see it. Yep, very important. So here's a difference though. It's more important about how we say it than what we say. You guys know this. I'm sure you guys have relationships, business, personal, kids, spouses, whatever the case may be. You know that if you say something, your intentions are to express yourself in a certain way. It doesn't always come out that way. We all do it. I'm guilty of it. I do it all the time. Trust me, I get called out on for my leadership team. So it's more important about how we say it than what we say. So who's familiar with Phil Jones? Who's heard of him? A couple of you? All right, if you don't know who Phil Jones is, I'm going to encourage you to go get both of these books. I'm also going to encourage you to start with the book on the left. You're going to start with exactly what to say. Do not jump into, you can, and you probably will, jump straight into exactly what to say for real estate agents, which is the smaller book on the right. Understanding the psychology behind this book and the words that Phil teaches or the phrases he even teaches is key. So start with the one on the left, exactly what to say, then go to exactly what to say for real estate agents. They're easy books. They're good reads. They're short reads. If you don't want to read it again, they are on Audible, so you can get them in an Audible book if you want to. It just changes the way we say things, right? So that lead conversion, this is going to help you with the lead conversion. To get the listing agreement signed, this is going to help you get the listing agreement signed. To handle objections, this is going to help you handle those objections. So I encourage everybody to check this book out because it does some really good stuff. All right. All right. Back to the other slide deck. So lead conversion, pre-listing, listing consultation, servicing and marketing. We've kind of touched on that. What do you think's involved in a listing consultation? We're going to get more into it, but what do you guys think's involved in that number 3, the listing consultation? Explaining the process. Oh, Teresa says she got exactly what to say one way. Did you get the first book or the second book? You got the regular one? Pricing, CMA, compensation, learning, motivation, and capital letters. Don't yell at me, Lisa. Second. All right, that's fine. You can read it. I prefer you start with the first one. Go get the first one anyways. All right. So our listing consultation is our listing presentation. Servicing and marketing. What is servicing and marketing in a listing? We've kind of touched on that. Service every lead that comes in. Service the client once it's under contract, all your ministerial acts, all your fiduciary responsibilities that you have as well. Make sure that you're on top of those. Number 5 is offer and negotiations. Number 5 is where I will tell you that the number one thing that you need to know is your paperwork inside and out. Know the transaction process, know your listing agreements, know your contracts, know your addenda, know your inspection time, all your contingency time frames and things like that you have. Knowing that stuff inside and out is going to help you so much in the negotiations aspect that you would be actually shocked at how easy it is to negotiate because you know everything. Contract to close. What does that mean? Well, that just means, excuse me. That just means that all our contingencies are probably clear, right? The lender, I see from the buyer, the buyer's loan is approved. We're just waiting for the title company and the lender to finalize their numbers, and then we're going to finally get that day where we're going to go and do the closing, and we're going to sign all the paperwork and transfer title over to the new owner. Post closing. What's post closing? Lawyers don't start me on lawyers. They started me on lawyers last night. It didn't end well. Pass the keys after closing. Give me more on after closing, Lisa. Dropping off a gift and sending a card. Ooh. So your post closing is your follow up. What are we doing? Stay in touch with these people and follow up with these people. What's the life cycle of a homeowner? In other words, how long are they going to stay in their home before they sell again? 10 years, 7 to 10, 7 to 10. Okay. So 5 to 7 was the original aspect on this. We are more into a 7 to 10 now, just where the market is. They're going to stay longer. However, have you ever heard of somebody buying a house and then turning around and selling it in less than a year? Yeah, this is why we have to have a post-close system where we follow up and we stay in touch with everybody, because their life events. There you go. 9-month mark. There you go. Yes. Life events. As Ashley said, not unless something happens. Life events. Again, I just got this new job. Well, I went in and crushed this job in 6 months, and they went, guess what? Now we want you to go to Colorado, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe I didn't crush it and got demoted back, and now I can't afford my house, or whatever the case may be. So making sure you have a post-close system in place where you're in constant follow-up with these people to be their lifelong real estate agent is key. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, joy, pain, sorrow, any of the above at all about the little bit that we covered so far? Give me some feedback. Thank you, Eric. I try to make it valuable information. It's not that hard when, they write it for me. All I gotta do is tell you about it. All right, let's get into some more stuff here. I got some more little tricks for you too, to be honest with you. So how do we get the appointment? That's our next step. We can lead generate every day. Let me ask you this question. I don't know if you guys have had this conversation or not. It's one of the things I always make sure I touch on in every class that I teach where we're talking lead generation. Are we in the lead generation business? Yes or no? Okay. If we're in the lead generation business, what's the second part of our lead generation business that we need to focus on? Because there's another key aspect to our lead generation. Follow up. All right. How are we going to follow up? What I would challenge you to change your focus on, constant contact. Well, okay, right there, Erica hit it. Contact information. We're actually in the lead capture business, because lead generation is me going out and having conversations with people. And I can have conversations with people all day long, every day. If I don't get their information, if I can't get a phone number or an email or an address, how am I going to do those follow-ups you guys are putting in the chat right now? So yes, we're in the lead generation business, but we're more so in the lead capture business, that we're actually capturing information from them so that we can actually have that follow-up ability. Ashley, you got your hand up.
Yeah, sorry. So I got a seller buyer lead from door knocking yesterday, and I did a CMA, and I went and met with her today. And we went through the CMA I prepared and discussed listing price. And then she turned around, she said, yeah, well, I want to wait and see what the one up the street goes for on Friday when they're doing offers. So I'll let you know. As long as I move between now and August, we should be good.
So it's a year time frame. She wants to be out by next August, right?
Then why did I try and do the CMA last night after Ignite?
All right. So you want to talk about that real quick? Who else feels?
Well, I know why I did it. That was a
Okay, why'd you do it?
but-
You tell me why you did it.
Because I wanted to get the listing.
Okay. Now, if you didn't do the CMA and you didn't go and have that conversation, what's the odds of you converting her later on?
A lot less than right now.
So one of the things we have to keep in mind when we're doing our lead generation, lead capture, is speed to lead. Whether it's a buyer or a seller, we got to make sure we're getting those appointments set quickly and then we're there. We talked about motivation earlier, right? I wouldn't go slim chance. Ashley number 2. That's harsh, not slim. It just decreases a little bit. Come on now. They're in the moment. This person showed interest. Stop and think about it. How many of you guys are okay, I forgot to buy popcorn today when I went to the store, so I'm going to use popcorn as an example. Where are the popcorn eaters? Who loves their popcorn, especially going to the movie and getting that big old bucket of popcorn, right? Anybody? I got to use something different. Ice cream, wine, bourbon. I mean, I can go on and on. What's your one thing that like I'm in the mood for it? But if you don't get it when you're in the mood for it, how likely are you to get it later? Right? Consumers are no different. A consumer is in the mood when they're talking to you and they're excited. Okay, I'll go with chocolate. I got a Snickers in the fridge. I might have that later now that you bring it up. Thanks. They're in the mood when they're talking to you. So you have to strike when the iron's hot, per se. So the sooner we can get that sit down with them and have that conversation, our chances of converting them are increased dramatically. Now, for you, Ashley, and I don't know how your conversation went. You just gave me an overview. I'm not judging you when I say this. I'm assuming the property she referred to it's active on the market and she's keeping tabs on it. And she assumes it's going to go under contract by the end of the week. Is that correct?
Yes. So I was door knocking the neighborhood yesterday, offering CMAs, and she's like, yeah, come on in and take a look. I've been wondering what it's worth. I'm thinking of moving. So we had that conversation. I looked around, I did it. The one down the street, she was comparing her house to, and I did use it as a comparable for an active. So we were on the same page. Like, it was a great conversation. The meeting went really well. She agreed with the value that I said. But I guess the one around the corner is holding offers till Friday. So she wants to see what it does.
So here's where I don't know if you did this. Here's where I would go back and go, well, we're not going to know what that house does until it closes. Because that information that agent gets with their client, and when it goes under contract and they status it in the MLS as under contract, it's still going to show the price it's listed for. So even when it goes under contract, we're not going to know. Now,
I know, but I think she might know the owners.
I was just going to say, now, unless she knows the owners and she's going to go up and go, hey, what'd you get your contract for? Right. There's pros and cons to that. Because, and you could have actually asked that. This is one of the things I talk about all the time is we got to go deep more in these conversations with the consumer. Like, do not be afraid to have a money conversation with them. Do not be afraid to ask really deep and hard questions. We have a saying about going 3 layers deep. Have you guys ever heard that? 3 layers or 3 questions deep. Right. So what's important to her about that house and it going under contract? Like, I'm assuming that house is priced where you suggested, like it's right in that same ballpark, probably exact or within a couple $1,000s.
No, we actually both agreed that we think it's overpriced.
Okay. All right. So that's good. That means she's really paying attention to the market. So you got a really savvy consumer there.
Every single comparable in my CMA, she's, yeah, I know that house. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I know that house. Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, okay, then why am I here?
Look, Ontario's bragging right now. That's all right. That's fine. Y'all do it different up there. Typically, you don't change the price of the property when it goes under contract, just so you know. Like now, some agents, depending on where you're at, some agents like to go in and when it goes under contract, they immediately change it to the contract price to let everybody know. I'm not a fan of that because it can just create bad juju. I'm not doing that. That kind of jinx things in my opinion. But if she knows who it is and once it goes under contract, she's going to find out, then your next question on that, and I love the fact you went on that appointment. Congratulations. And I love the fact that she's on top of it, and you guys, and you did it right. Like, not that you would have done it wrong, but you went in and presented and she agreed with everything you said. That's like a huge win because you can actually go in there and have a completely different position. And they're like, yeah, I don't like what you just said. So that's good that it worked out in a very positive way. The next question would be, well, what I give you today and because I saw somebody write the word today in the comments a second ago also, the price that I'm going to give you today and the price that house goes under contract today, it's not going to be the same tomorrow.
And I did have that conversation with her that she needs to be prepared if she's going to wait a few months, that the market is shifting and that we might be in a very different position later, and that right now we're kind of teetering on that edge. At least, sorry, here I'm Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
So at least here right now we're kind of in that position where if you want to list, now is probably the time, because all the buyers are waiting for our interest rate to come back down. They're expecting another drop in October, another one in December. So everybody sitting on the sidelines is going to start getting into the market and making the move.
There you go. It sounds like you crushed that appointment, to be honest with you, in my opinion. So good for you. You did everything right for what I'm hearing. So that's awesome. And yeah, I see in here, definitely stay in touch. I'm sure you're going to. And just keep that in mind. Like, the market's changing. It could go up or it could go down. If this is your sweet spot and you like this number, you should probably move sooner than later. And it's up to you. Whatever you want to do, you let me know. Right. So figuring that part out. All right. Thank you. Good stuff. All right. So keys to converting an A seller. We kind of just went over that if you think about it. So respond right away to the lead inquiries. She's door knocking. Do you want a CMA? Yes, I do. She set the appointment and she did it. That's like speed to lead is number one thing. Get valid and complete contact information and save it inside of your CRM command, and create an opportunity. As a tech trainer, I do have rules on this, suggested rules. Don't get happy with creating opportunities inside of command. You can actually it can just become more of a mess than what it needs to be. My recommendation, what I coach and I've always trained to, is if somebody has expressed to do a business with you, whether it's buying or selling, 24 months or less, if they are 2 years or less from wanting to do that transaction, create an opportunity. And here's the reason why. I personally have 5,600 people in my database. Now, a lot of mine are agents because of what I've done in my leadership role. So I got to get it cleaned up. And still, if you've got a large database of even 500 or 1,000, when they're in that database, they're kind of lost in the haystack in a way. I mean, you can set up almost smart plans. You can set yourself reminders with tasks and things like that. If they're in my pipeline and they're in that cultivate, or they're in that appointment setting phase, they're sitting there and I haven't moved them forward, every single day when I go into command, I'm going to open my pipeline and I'm going to see that I've got 4, 5, 6, 10, 15, whatever that number is, in those 2 buckets that I need to move forward. It gives me a more direct and immediate call list. These are the people that I'm going to be in touch with way more often than anybody else. So you figure out what works best in your business model, the way you want to run your business. 24 months is literally the max. I actually tell people do about 16 months or so. Yet we talked earlier, Alana had said, if they're 6 months out to buying, what's their real buying time frame or selling time frame? It's probably a lot less. They haven't realized it, right? Ashley just shared, as long as I get out by August, guess what? You'll get her out by January if you do things right. because she's going to realize that it's got to happen sooner than later, most likely. So keeping them in the opportunity in the right time frame, you're going to stay in touch with them a whole lot more. So correct. So yes, quality over quantity, and that's what I'm talking about on with that, Erica, is if they're expressing interest 24 months or less, they're going to go to my opportunity. Now, I'm still going to do a secondary qualification. How serious are they about that? Like, what's their motivation? And if it's somebody who's retiring or various different things like that, those things change quickly. Somebody just, I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have ever retired or left, even just left the job. Like, you know what? I'm out in 6 months. You show up to work one day and you're like, that's it. I'm done. I had enough. Time to change. I'm out. See you. Like, life events happen like that. So focus on it, but figure out what works for you and your business model, right? Oh, and back to the lead capture. If I'm doing my lead capture correctly, I'm already capturing information similar to Ashley did with her door knocking. She had the information she needed. She was able to get the appointment and go back. Determine their motivation to sell so you can speak to it. This goes back into what people put in the comment section earlier about listening, asking questions, and listening. As a coach, I've had a coach. My MAPS coach told me a long time ago that if I ever got done coaching somebody and I was exhausted, I was like, Ma, that thing was just draining. Everything I just did, I'm exhausted. Oh, that person just kills me every time I talk to them. I talked too much. I didn't ask enough questions. Because my job is to ask the questions and keep going. Back to the 3 layers deep. If I ask a question of anybody on here, you're going to give me an answer. Like earlier, Lisa put in a comment about after closing. And I'm like, okay, what's that mean? Let's go after closing, go further with that. Because every question that you ask, when you get an answer, the first answer isn't the whole truth. It's just a snippet. And a lot of times you're going to get that 1 or 2 word response. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Well, tell me why it makes sense. Tell me what that means to you. What do you see that as? So always go deep in your questions so that you can uncover the real true motivations. That's one of the most important things when we're dealing with our consumers. Set an appointment, time and date for as soon as possible, and send a pre-listing package. So when it comes to set an appointment, well, let me ask Ashley, how did you set your appointment? Let me just ask you that. How did you set that appointment? What was the conversation like?
So she wanted me to do the CMA right there. And she was running a daycare, so she had all kinds of little kids. So I went in and took a look at the house, and I told her right off the bat, I don't have my laptop with me. Normally I would set a time for us to sit down, and she goes, well, you can come in and take a look around, and then we can sit down and go through, or you can send it to me. That's what she said. She said, you can send it to me. I said, typically, in my experience, I like to sit down and go through it. I find that, people usually appreciate it more, understand it better if we sit down and go through it together, and I can explain why I've come up with what I have. So she was open to that. She said, okay, so message me tonight and then we can set up a time. So that's all I did. I came home, I did the CMA, and I texted her, and we set up a time that worked for her this afternoon, and I went and met with her.
Perfect. Now, the only difference, you had a very motivated person, somebody who is aware of the market, knows what's going on, and they wanted the information. Typically, what we're going to get is we're going to get the curiosity. Like, they're interested. They're just not as educated, or they think they know something they don't know, whatever the case may be. So they're not going to be as easy as like, just call me and we'll set something up. My suggestion would be when you could have still done it, when she was like, well, message me later. You could have said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get this done this evening. How about if I come back tomorrow at 2 or 4, which would work better for you? Because if you give them the actual time rather than saying, hey, what works best for you, it's an out. It gives them the ability to say, well, I don't know what's going to work. I don't know about this. I don't know about that. If you give them choices and say, well, I can meet you, what's today, Wednesday? I can meet you tomorrow, Thursday at 3, or I can meet you Friday at 5. Which one works better for you? If I'm giving them specific dates and times as an option, they're more likely to choose one of them or actually suggest a time that works best for them. So when you're doing the setting the appointment and getting that done as soon as possible, set the appointment for as fast as you can. Know your own calendar, maintain a calendar so that you're ready to answer those questions and give them specific dates and time. Make sense?
Yeah, so I had another client last week from door knocking again. It's a listing appointment. And I tried to do that, but he was a little different. So he's like, well, we're leaving on the weekend to go on a 2-week European cruise. I was like, oh, that's fantastic. When do you get back? And so he told me, I said, well, so that week I would be available these days. He goes, you know what? My wife really just wants to go and get the cruise done. When we get back, give us a call and we'll set something up. So that's, I think, why I was handled it a little differently with the CMA client this week.
Hey, I would have handled it. Look, what you did was perfect because she let you in the house, right? She's like, come in and take a look around and then put it all together and then we'll talk about it. That's, to me, I would have been like, oh, this is happening. Like, we're going to talk. Also, you did great. Hey, look, when you get back, can we just pencil it in? You know what? I'll tell you what, I'm going to pencil you in. And here's what you could have done with the other person too, because it sits in their mind when you do it. I tell you what, you say you're getting back on what, October 10th. So I'm going to pencil in here. I'm going to give you a call on the 11th. I'll do it late in the afternoon. I want you guys to be able to get back, kind of get settled and stuff. I'll give you a call on the 11th or whatever, the day after they get back, kind of late in the afternoon. And I'll check in with you. And if you don't mind, I'm also going to pencil you in for Thursday around 4 o'clock. So it's blocked now because I don't want to miss that chance. So when you get back and you have time. So I'm just going to pencil in when I'm going to call you and when we can potentially meet. And then when I call you, we'll finalize the actual date. So you could still give them that suggested thing because this entire cruise, he's going to be thinking about, crap, I got to meet her 3 days after I get back from the cruise. So even given this, I'm just going to pencil it in. No, I'm not holding you to it, but I'm going to call you when you get back and I'll confirm if we can do it. If not, we'll move it. Is that fair? Awesome. Have a great trip. Look forward to hearing about your trip.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can still do it with just, again, it goes back to how we say things than what we say, because, you know, I would have done the same thing. Oh, when you get back, great. Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to be busy. You're going to be having fun. I don't want you thinking about this. Can I pencil you in for Thursday at 4 o'clock for us to potentially meet? I want to block it out now so I don't fill it up because I'm sure I'm going to have other appointments, but I'm going to call you on Tuesday because you come back Sunday. So I'm going to give you, 2 days to get settled. I'll call you Tuesday to confirm if that Thursday date still works for you. Is that fair? And he's been like, well, yeah, that's cool. And then, all right, cool, great. Go have a great trip. See you later. So also, in case you guys haven't heard, door knocking works. That's really good. How many listing appointments have you gotten? Erica's like, I see. How many listing appointments have you gotten door knocking and how long have you been door knocking?
I personally go door knocking every week. And in the last 2 weeks, I got a listing appointment, first time home buyer, and the CMA that I did today.
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Hang on. I gotta see something. No, he didn't make it in today. Somebody needed to hear that, but I see he's not on here. Don't worry. I'll yell at him later. All right. Let's get back into some of our content here. So what sellers want most from their agent? What do you guys think they want most? Kind of balanced out here, right? Help with pricing the home. That's where our CMAs come in. Helps the seller to market the home. That's where we get to put it in our MLSs and it gets syndicated to all our different websites. They get the sign in the yard. They get the open house things. It's our social media posting and everything like that. Help sell the home within a specific time frame. Are you guys asking these sellers like, hey, what's your time frame? I'm sure you are. It's kind of a rhetorical question. We want to know what their time frame is. And keep in mind that when we find out what their time frame is, that time frame can impact the price. If somebody's like, well, we'll use Ashley again. Hey, as long as I'm out by next August, great. I'll tell you what your price is today, but by next year, when you put it on the market, the price is going to change. Just know that, right? Okay, cool. I'm okay with that. Well, I want to sell in the next 30 days. Okay, if you want to sell in the next 30 days, we probably shouldn't price this thing at true market value. We should probably put it a little bit below that. just more buyers in here. So we have a better chance of actually getting you done in 30 days. So knowing those tactics to help them get them done in that time frame is huge as well. 16% is help sellers find ways to fix up the home. Now, please keep in mind, I'm not asking you guys to be, general contractors and stagers and remodelers and all that stuff. And you'll pick up things as you grow your business. And some of you probably have already picked up some of those skills already as you've been working in this business. They want us to tell them, like, just declutter, right? Take all the pictures down of the family. They don't want to see your family. They want to imagine their family. Make sure you clean it up, right? I want to make sure that the house is clean and spotless and neat. Make sure the yard's clean. Sometimes it's not so much about them fixing the house as much as about them just cleaning it up, make it look nice. Be aware, get with other agents in your office and find out, especially if you're a newer agent and you don't know this information, get with agents in your office and find out what are some of the common things I need to pay attention to when I walk through a house that inspectors are going to hit. Go talk to a home inspector, right? Find out. Go talk to your mortgage lenders, right? Go talk to your appraisers, right? FHA and VA homes are commonly hit with the appraiser saying something has to be fixed. Those are your lender required repairs. So what are some of the things I need to keep an eye out for, right? You're not the home inspector. You're not going to go in there and go, hey, that crack in the foundation needs to be fixed. That's not your job. You could suggest and say, hey, I don't know if that crack in your foundation is anything or not. You might want to get it looked at, because I'm pretty sure a home inspector is going to say something, and then a buyer is probably going to ask you, hey, is this house falling down or not? Right? Now, I wouldn't say it like that. Again, this is why I get in trouble. Yet you need to keep your eye out for that. Age of the HVAC, age of the roof, age of the hot water heater. It's the little things like that that you want to be ready for and prepare them. I'm not telling you got to replace a hot water heater just because it's old. Does it work? Is it leaking? Like, is it functional? Great. It can last well past its life as long as you take care of it. Yet if it's looking a little ragged and it's got some leaks in it and things like that, guess what? A buyer's going to want that fixed before they move into it in most cases. So we need to be prepared for that. And then lastly, of course, your other category. Your other category is literally just about everything else. Like going back to the gardening. Should I cut the grass? Should I cut that tree down? It's all that stuff like that. Yep. Declutter and depersonalize the homes. Build confidence and trust. What are some ways you can build confidence and trust with the sellers? What do you guys think? What are some ways you guys can do that? All right, I'm going to caution you. I'm not going to do what they say. Be interested in their dreams. I like that one. Right? It's basically just compassion in a lot of ways. Make sure that we're talking about them and not us, because everything is about them. And going back to your comment, Lisa, yeah, if I got a listing agreement signed, I kind of have to do what they tell me. Yet I also should have the relationship point to where I can go, look, that's not in your best interest. Having the hard conversation. You guys want to build a lot of trust. Have the hard conversation. Say the thing that you don't want to say in a polite manner, right? Staying consistent. I like that.
My point was keeping your word. Like if you say you're going to call them, call them. If you say you're going to email them, email them. To stay true to your word, you know.
Do what you say, not what they say.
That's what I meant. Is keep your word and do what you say you're going to do.
There you go. That's the right way to put it. Yeah, do what you say you're going to do. If you're going to say, I'm going to call you every Tuesday with a follow-up and keep you posted what's going on with your listing, guess what? You better call every Tuesday with that, right? So be available and make them comfortable. Set boundaries on that being available, folks, with buyers and sellers. Don't answer the phone now at 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, because then they'll start calling you all times of day and night. And you don't want that. You don't need that, right? So set those boundaries with them because they're going to have boundaries with you. Matter of fact, ask what their boundaries are. You want real trust? Hey, how late can I call you at night? Like, I don't plan on calling you ever past like 6 o'clock because you have, a life to live. Yet if we're in a contract and all of a sudden a buyer freaks out and a buyer agent calls me up and it's 7 o'clock at night, do you want me to call you at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night? Or do you want me to call you the next day? Like, let's have that conversation. So set those parameters and those expectations in every aspect. That's how you're going to build that trust in those and build those relationships. 7, close the appointment tactics. These are fun. These are fun. Show the benefits. We want to make sure that we're showing the benefits to what we offer. There's a tactic called a take back close. It's where you kind of offer them something and then you take it away. I'll go back to this guy right here, Phil Jones. He's got a great line in there of, hey, this might not be for you, but would it make sense that I'm going to use Ashley? Hey, this might not be for you, but would it make more sense for us to sit down and go over it together? That way I'm able to answer your questions right there on the spot rather than me emailing you something and then you waiting for me to get back to you. This way you have the information right then and there. So it's like, hey, I want to do it, but I'm not going to do it. So there's different tactics around the take back. Negative, positive. So this is using a negative situation and turn it into a positive situation. Give them what they're looking for. Ashley, I'm going to pick on you again. I'm not picking on you. I'm just going to use you because you're phenomenal tonight. Thank you for sharing your stuff. She did what she said. She went home, she prepared the CMA, and she went back and she presented it. That's what they wanted, right? Don't force something on them that they don't want. So make sure you're providing what they're asking for. A trial close. What's trial close? Testing the waters, right? Just toss something out there. Again, it's like I said, well, how about if we meet tomorrow at 3 o'clock? I'm going to throw it out there and I'm going to see what happens with it. Your assumptive close. This is a big sales tactic. Assume the close, right? Always be closing type situation. I use assumptive in nearly everything that I do when I'm at a listing appointment or with a buyer. I talk in the aspects of, hey, look, when we put the sign in your front yard, when I put it on the MLS, when I start running the Facebook ads, when the photographer comes out, I talk as if they've already signed the paperwork. You can do the same thing with the closing, right? That goes back to just giving them a date. I'll tell you what, I'm available tomorrow. How about if I get here around 4 and we can sit down, give me like an hour and we'll have all this done. Does that work? Well, I don't get home till 4 o'clock. Okay, great. How about 5 o'clock then, right? So just assume that they've already agreed to everything. Make sure you're using tie downs as well. Tie downs are bringing it back to their motivation. So when you're talking about their appointment or asking for the appointment or setting the appointment, use the tie downs back to their motivation. Hey, you said you want to get to Florida. You said you wanted to be out by next August. So let's sit down and talk about and create that plan. I'm not asking to sign any paperwork today or whatever the case may be, but let's create the plan, right? We need to have a plan. So make sure you're using your tie downs. Questions versus objections, right? When a question is asked, answer it. When an objection comes up, address it. What does that mean to you guys? So if a client asks you what your commission is, right? Validate, that's part of it. A client asks you what your commission is, just provide the answer. Hey, what do you charge? I charge X. That's it. By the way, stop talking after that. Don't justify what you charge. Just tell them, hey, I charge X. And they might ask you, well, what do I get with X? Hopefully you've already covered that in your presentation, yet, still answer it. If you get into the situation of the objection, such as, well, I'd love to meet with you, but the kids have sporting activities and my time's valuable. That's an objection, right? So address it. First, validate it. I also like be honest. One of my things versus being honest is being vulnerable. Honest and vulnerability are two different things. So be vulnerable with them. So if somebody says, hey, I'd like to meet with you, but I got sporting activities with the kids all day, all week, you know, it's gonna be hard for me to get together. You know what? I understand that. My kids were in youth sports as well. So believe me, I was walking around the football field and watch my daughter cheer and do things like that while I'm on the phone talking to clients. And I didn't miss anything. I was still there. I might not have always watched every play because I was on the phone, but I was there. So I get what you were saying. Where do your kids play sports at? I love watching the kids play. Would it be okay if I came out and met you and saw your kids play sports? That way I don't take away from your family time and pay attention to kids, but we can have a small conversation there. Would that work? There's a solution to every problem and there's a solution to every objection. Does that make sense? Is that fair? All right. Thoughts, comments, ahas, takeaways from everything we just went over, or actually everything Ashley just went over. What do you guys say? Another agent's charging less. You get what you pay for. All right, don't say it like that. And that's still kind of the mindset that you're probably going to have about it. Hey, you know what? What are you getting for that? You mind if I ask? Here's another thing I like to do with that also is, you know, it's funny. I hear that quite often that our agents are charging less. I've also heard sellers tell me that, you know, well, another agent said I can get a lot more for my house. And what I have found, and this goes to the transparency that I provide to my consumers, is I find that those agents are buying your listing. And I don't want to buy your listing. I want to sell your home. And they're going to be, what do you mean they're buying the listing? Well, they're going to tell you what you want to hear, right? They're going to tell you it's worth more than what it actually is because they just want to be able to put a sign in the front yard. They'll come back to you in a couple of weeks and say, hey, we got to reduce the price because it's too high. I'm going to tell you what it's valued at. I want to start at a proper price so I can get your house sold. I don't want it sitting around in the market. By the way, as a home seller, did you know there's 2 price depressing problems that impact the amount of money a seller gets for a home? Do you guys know what they are? You ever heard them? You guys know one of them for sure.
Pricing and condition?
Those are factors, but those 2 factors play into the bigger overall. The first one is time on market. Longer a house sits on the market, the less it's going to sell for. Immediately after 1 to 2 days, the value of the home will go down when a consumer makes an offer. Now, we're still in a seller's market, so that doesn't happen as quickly, yet it still can happen. The second price depressing problem is what's called buyer delay. What that means is the buyer comes into the home, they look at the home, they like the home, and they're like, we want to go home and sleep on it. Buyer goes home, they take a day or 2 to think about it. You call them up and go, hey, what do you think? You guys have been thinking about it. Typically what's going to happen is they're going to sit there and go, well, we like it. We also noticed it's still there and it's still available, which means other people didn't like it. So I don't think the value's there because if it was, somebody would have bought it already. And, you know, so we don't want to offer as much. So if you put your house on the market for too much money, it's going to sit. And you're going to be fighting to get the value that you want out of it. The second side of it is if you put it on the market at too high, you're probably going to get less people to look at it. And those buyers are going to take a lot more time to think about it before they put the money into it. So there's that. Ashley, what do you got?
So I just have a question and I'm wondering your opinion. Because I was talking to this client today about the property we both agreed we think is overpriced, and I understand what a price reduction can do, and that people then sometimes feel, well, maybe it's still overpriced, right? So I understand the strategy of pricing a little lower to try and get the interest and get people through it, like pricing a little under market value, hoping to get multiple offers. But I did an open house a few weeks ago that they had just increased the price by like 70,000. So they had it listed lower. I'm assuming they didn't get any offers that they liked. So they increased the price by like 70,000. What do you feel that does to a listing? Because I almost didn't do the open house when I figured that out because I didn't know how that was going to go.
So I don't see it a lot. What I have seen is agents have done that for a couple different reasons. One, a house in the neighborhood, did they fix something? That could have been a factor. Maybe the basement wasn't finished and they went in and finished the basement or something, right? That's one factor. Two, a house in the neighborhood sold for a lot more than what they were on the market at. So the sellers came in and said, if they sold for that much, we want to sell for that much, raise the price. I'm probably going to fire that client at that point. But again, that's me. Other than those two reasons, them doing something that increased the value, they went and fixed something, or a house in the neighborhood sold for more and they came in and said, well, if they got that much, we can get this much. There's almost no reason to raise the price in my mind, because if it's not selling and you're not getting offers and you're not getting showings, what's a price increase going to do? Right. The only other thing is when buyer agents, well, I shouldn't even call it buyer agents because we're all buyer agents. We're all listing agents. When an agent is working with a buyer, that agent knows that buyer's buying power, and they're only going to look in that bracket of that buying power. Typically, agents go $25,000 to $50,000 over that buying power, or $50,000 to $25,000 under that buying power. So if I'm approved at 400, you're probably going to looking at 350 to 450, because even if it's over my buying power of 400, I might be able to get it reduced down with my negotiations. Or I might just find a really great house at 375, so I don't spend all their money. So even with that, I'm not sure why somebody would do it unless they priced at like 450 and there are buyers looking at 500 and above. But if I'm at 500 above, I'd be looking at the 450 and getting it for cheaper. That's just me. So to me, it makes no sense why they raised the price.
It did actually end up selling for very close to the new price.
That's interesting.
Higher
That's-
one.
Yeah, that's interesting to me. So yeah, there's a reason for everything. When you see that, I'd reach out to the listing agent and go, what's going on? This is weird. You started here and then you just jumped it up to here. To me, I think, going back to whoever said that in the comment, they must have done something in the house. Like they must have put it on the market with that work of like, hey, we're doing this, or they decided we needed to do it in order to get the value and to get people to do it, because I'm not buying it without a finished basement. So they finished the basement, something like that. That could have been a factor for it, for sure. So good question though. All right, so let's talk about your pre-listing packages. Pre-listing packages are going to include pretty much whatever you want it to include, yet you're going to have some basics. Build the seller's confidence, answer their questions. Pre-listing packages get sent out. I'm currently in the process of building a team. And one of the things we're going to have for all of our buyers and sellers is we're using Google Drive. Each client will have their own folder. There'll be a folder for them that we will put completed documents in. This is where we're going to put our pre-listing packages. We're going to put contracts so they can start reviewing the contract before we even make offers. Same with the seller. I'm going to have stuff in there that they're going to need to know about prior to it going under contract. So we're going to have things in play like that. They're going to be in our pre-listing and throughout the entire listing. Make sure that you are following your state and local rules as far as what you can share and shouldn't be sharing and things like that. So when you're doing your marketing and whatever, pre-listing packages are great to give to them. You want them to have questions when you get there rather than present to them what you have. Remember earlier when I said we need to make sure that we're listening? What if you sent them your pre-listing package and said, hey, I want you guys to review this before I come out. And then when I come out, we'll sit down and we'll go over everything. The only thing I'm not going to give them up front is my CMA, because I don't want them seeing that money up front, what I think it is, because as Ashley pointed out, It makes more sense when I explain why it's at this price point. If you just throw a number out there, you can really just mess people up. But if I give them everything else, they got a chance to review it. When I get there, I'm probably going to start my listing appointment off with, what questions do you have? And I'm going to answer their questions. Guess what? I can knock this listing appointment out in no time because they already have read what they needed to read. They're going to ask me the questions they have. I'm going to answer them. And then I'm going to give them the price on their home. And I'm going to go, you ready to move forward? Rather than me taking my hour-long presentation that certain personality types could care less about. So pre-listing packages are great for you to send out with those materials in it. Saves you time, and make sure your value proposition's in there. We just did the whole mission statement. Now you can build your value proposition off that mission statement. Pre-listing package criteria, set the materials, make sure they're professional looking. Cost-wise, yes, you can print this stuff out and take it with you. If you put it in a digital format, it's great. Also, know your clientele, your demographics. Are you dealing with somebody who is tech savvy or they're not tech savvy? So doing a Google Drive may not be the best for that person. Anybody know who Jeff Glover is? We're my North people. We got some Chicago people, I think, in this group and things like that. You guys probably know Jeff. He's up that way. Jeff has a pre-listing package that is hand delivered. If the listing appointment's further out, they'll mail it. If it's closer, he actually has somebody go deliver it to the house. So you have to determine, and this is the pre-qualifications when you're talking to these consumers, do you want it digitally or do you want it in paper? If they want it in paper, get it to them in paper. Drive it out there yourself, right? You should be driving through the neighborhood checking things out anyway. So drive out through the neighborhood, check things out, drop the package off and say, I'll see you in 3 days or whenever the appointment is. You don't even have to see them. Just go up and drop it on the door and ring the doorbell, make it like a carrier service, you know? I know a lot of you are probably like, well, where am I going to get my listing packet at? What am I going to do? Guess what? That's what Command's for. If you go inside of Command and you go inside of designs and you select to create a new design, and your new design is going to be a print design, we have listing presentations in there. They're like 30, 40 pages long. You can pick and choose what pages you want. Every one of them is editable. So you're going to put your information in there. You can even put a picture of their house on the cover of it, so it's more personalized. You're going to put their name on it. So inside of Command is where you're going to be able to play with all of that and build all of that, whether it's a listing package or a buyer consultation package, right? So what do we got to do to get ready for our listing consult or our seller consultation, our listing appointment, right? Deliver your pre-listing package, again, digitally or physically, whichever one's going to work best for the consumer. You're going to find out. Make sure we're confirming the appointment. Do a follow-up with them as well. If you're a week out, make sure you touch them multiple times before that appointment. And in fact, I would recommend you calling them the day of the appointment. If I've got a 2 o'clock appointment, I'm going to call them probably at 9 o'clock in the morning and go, hey, I'll see you guys at 2 o'clock today. They're probably going to confirm it with you. However, if something came up, they're like, oh my God, I can't do it. You know early enough that you can change your schedule. The worst thing that you want to do is show up to somebody's house without confirming, and then all of a sudden they're not there because they totally forgot. Matter of fact, you can call them a half an hour before your appointment and just say, hey, just finished up my last appointment. I'm about 30 minutes away. I'll see you guys in 30 minutes. They're either going to go, great, we're looking forward to it. Or they're going to go, oh my God, I totally forgot. We had this appointment, or one of the kids is sick, or whatever the case may be. You're not going to waste time by showing up when they're not going to be there. So make sure you're following up. The biggest thing is ensure all decision makers are at the appointment. What does that mean? Compensation. Oh, in your pre-listing package, I wouldn't put compensation in there. I would have that conversation when I get there. Yeah, hubby, wife, whoever. Story I shared last night, and I'll share it with you guys today, is the fact that I had an agent a couple years ago that met with the two people, signed paperwork, put it on the market, went under contract. Everything hit the title company. Title company came in and said, who's this third name on the title? It was a group of friends that bought this home, and it was being sold, and nobody said anything about the third friend. Now, fortunate for them, the third friend was in. Yeah, that's fine. We're selling the house. So he signed everything that needed to be signed. No objections or anything like that. It worked out perfectly fine. But we need to make sure that we are checking title, that everybody's there, because, you know, we don't want somebody not being there and we had an appointment, because you can actually make somebody upset if you do that. So don't do that. There are lead sheets. There's lead sheets in the packets for Ignite. I think there's even there's a few other places inside of Connect. And if you go into Command and hit Connect button and go into all the learning stuff, there are lead sheets in there. Talk to other agents what they're doing for lead sheets. Make sure you have all your information ahead of time. And then make sure you're arriving to the listing on time. In here, it says professional manner. Dress how you dress. I've seen a lot of agents that show up, they're dressed like, you know, they got the suit on and all that stuff like that. And then the next time the seller sees them, they're in shorts and flip flops. Like, be authentic of who you are. Now, don't show up in shorts and flip flops. However, I know agents that actually run their business that way. So I'm not going to judge it. If that's you, that's you. Right. But be who you are, be authentic to yourself. They don't be somebody you're not, and then have them realize you're somebody you're not, because you never know how that's going to impact the relationship. Ashley.
So just to that point, I will say that when I first started, I'm not on a team anymore, but the team lead, when I first started, made a comment about the fact that I was in flip-flops and it was the summer. And I told him it's because I can't walk in high heels. I look like Bambi. Everybody see the movie Bambi when he's first born, he's learning how to walk. Yeah, that's what I look like in high heels. So I told him that, and he goes, you know what? Tell people that.
There you go.
And I do. So when I went into this lady's house, I made a comment. I said, really sorry I'm wearing flip-flops, but I can't walk in high heels. If you've ever seen Bambi, that's me. And she thought it was hysterical, and it broke the ice. So yeah, I always just be me.
Hey, can I tell you a little secret? I don't walk in heels either. All right. So
I would hope not.
I've never tried, so I just don't. So yeah, icebreakers are great, and I think that's a really good one that you can have there. So all right, out of everything we just went over, any thoughts, ahas, any takeaways? Because we're going to talk about the listing appointment next, and we are going to finish this up, because we really got into kind of the meat and potatoes. It's not a lot to it, just so you guys know, but there's enough to it. All right. Hearing none. Hey, if you're wearing Crocs, knock yourself out. Again, be authentic to yourself. My former team leader, he just stepped back and went in production, which is why I'm not a Market Center tech trainer. I'm going back in production myself. But he's somebody who has tattoos, and he tells the story when he does trainings that, you know, I used to wear long sleeves and cover up the tattoos. Then it was like, but later on, I'm wearing short sleeves. So eventually they find out. He goes, I stopped hiding them. So be authentic to yourself. If you're wearing Crocs, show up in Crocs. Explain them to them, right? Look, if you really want to make it work, kick those Crocs off and show them dogs. They'll understand. I'm just saying, right? However we got to do it. Brenda, question. No, I don't have a question.
No, I have a question for you, Matt.
Go ahead.
So as far as like professional printing of materials, do you have it printed in color? Do you do your own printing like from a regular printer? Like,
Personal
you know?
preference. It's how you want to run your business. Like a lot of times, if you use the good printers in your office and just pay whatever they charge you for your color copies, that's enough. Especially starting out, I would tell you just print things out.
Okay.
At home. Just make sure you're using a better quality printer. You can go to Staples and things like that. It will cost you a little bit more, but you don't have to get super fancy with the nice folders and all that. As I said, with just starting out, because it's going to be a bigger cost that you guys may or may not want to do. That's entirely up to you. So start kind of small and then build into it, right? It's go back to the MREA. It's red light, green light. Should I be spending this on this, or can I apply that money someplace else? So printing stuff is going to be your personal preference and what you want it to look like. When you feel confused, If you're probably feeling confused just because I'm the one presenting the class. No, I'm kidding. By the way, all slides are available. You guys should have your workbooks. Workbooks are great. If you want the slides, go into Command, click Connect. Connects in the black bar up on top, right next to where it says Command. Hit Browse All Media or All Learning, and then just search for Ignite. All the slide decks are in there. You can look through all the slide decks you want, and go back and review anything as far as slide decks go. But the slide deck should mirror your workbooks. And yeah, Erica, recordings go out. Your market center should be giving them to you because they all get posted on YouTube. So all the recordings get sent out. They're on a non-public YouTube channel. So, all right. So, hold on. Am I in the right spot? No, I'm not. I got to go back. Here we go. Good thing you guys couldn't see that. I was ahead. Your checklist, we did that, right? So let's talk about the listing appointment. Create a great impression to build the seller's confidence in you as the real estate agent. We've just talked about that. This is you being transparent and being authentically you. Show up, be you, don't be somebody else, have fun with it. Read the room though. I can't stress enough, go learn the DISC assessment, your high D's, your high I's, high S, and high C personalities, because you're going to learn how to talk to them, right? I'm a high D. I don't know if you guys realize that or not, but I'm like, just let's go, 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 go. You're going to have your C's and your I's. Your I's are your influencers. They're the ones that everyone's got to like me. Your C's are your rule followers. So you want to be your authentic self, and you're going to want to adjust your authentic self to meet who they are. Otherwise, it's going to be off-putting. So when you show up, understand who you're meeting with and learn what their personality types are so that you can actually meet them where they're at. I open every conversation I have with clients is DISC, D-I-S-C, DISC assessment. They're different personality types. I tell everybody I'm a high D personality. I talk loud. My voice carries. I walk into my regular restaurants, and all I got to do is walk through the front door and say hi to one person, and everybody knows I'm there, even the kitchen. Just my voice carries. So I let people know that, look, this is who I am. Don't freak out. It's okay for you to look at me and go, shh, a little bit lower, or you're going too fast, and I'll slow down. But I'm just kind of a quick talker. I'm a quick mover. And I don't want you to feel that I'm like doing anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. So tell me to stop. All right. Share your price recommendations, the initial list price for their property. Obviously, this is where your CMA is going to come in. Everyone's got different opinions on CMAs. This isn't a CMA class. I will tell you that you probably don't want more than 3 to 5 comparables when you go there. You get more than that in your CMA, you're definitely going to confuse people because then they get too information overload. So keep that in mind. And we've already talked about setting expectations. This goes for everything. What day of the week do we want to talk? What time of day works best for you? How late can I call you? By the way, don't call me after 7 o'clock, right? I've been through my day. I've put my 8 to 10 hours in. My day starts at 7. Clocks are going to change. It's probably going to start earlier with the dogs getting up, but my day starts around 6:30 when the dogs wake me up for food, and then I'm on. So come 7, 8 o'clock, I'm done. It's my social burnout. I got to go recharge. So I can't fix it after 8 o'clock anyways. We'll talk about it tomorrow, right? So set expectations in all of your consultations. It's the best thing you can do for you and for them. In your packets, you got it there. This is in there inside of designs for your listing consultation. Your needs come first. I don't believe there's anything written in here. It's a great page that you can use with your value proposition and showing how you care about them, right? This is in both the seller and buyer classes. So before you go on this listing appointment, make sure that you're giving yourself a nice little pep talk. That's pretty much what this is. I'm knowledgeable and caring and the best agent for these clients. They'll appreciate my expertise and preparation and choose me to represent them as they sell their home. So go into it with confidence. What do we say? expect the best, prepare for the worst type situation. So make sure you're meeting your own expectations when it comes to that as well. Listing walkthroughs. There's a couple different ways to do a listing walkthrough. One is let them take the charge. Just go show me around. Make sure you're taking notes though. Be mindful about your notes. Do not use your phone or a tablet or a device because they don't know you're taking notes. Use a piece of paper. I have some relationships in Arizona, and big brokerage out there, and they were on a project, and they had if I remember right, it was an NFL star who's getting into investing into things. The entire time when they were there, he never said a word, and he was on his phone the entire time. When the contact for this deal reached out to the head agent for the team, she was like, what did we do wrong? He whatever. They're like, oh no, he loved it. He's 100% in. He's all in. You guys did an amazing job. And they're like, but wait a minute. They're like, oh no, he was taking notes. So be mindful about how you're taking notes. I would also encourage you potentially to take a partner with you on all your listings. You don't have to. Yet if one of you is the one paying attention to everything and asking all the questions, and that other person is your scribe, the one sitting around taking notes, it makes it a lot easier as well. So you're either going to take charge and say, I want to see the basement, I want to see the first floor. You're going to tell them what you want to see, or you're going to let them take charge of it. Feel the room and figure out what's going to work best for you guys. When you're done your listing appointment, send them a thank you note or have one with you. So when you're done, hand that to them with everything else. If they signed, or if you're leaving stuff behind, leave the stuff behind and hand them a thank you note at the same time. Another thing you can do, I'm really going to freak you guys out now, take a gift with you. You guys like gifts? You want to see something that I have? I just made these, matter of fact. Hang on a sec. See, do I have one nearby? See this cute little bag right here? This is my gift. You know what's in this bag? You don't. I'm going to show you though. I'd love your feedback on it too. And if you guys don't mind, we're going to go like maybe 5 minutes or so over since we started so late. So
Sorry, I don't know about anybody else, but I can't see you. All I see is some KW classroom on the screen.
that's probably going to be you looking at change your view, upper right-hand corner on your Zoom, click view and change the view. If you got it in speaker mode, it's going to do that because I use a separate platform that shows the screen. So inside of this box, I have 2 hot cups right here, just plain white cups. I put those in the bag. And then inside that bag, I have 1 instant coffee and 1 tea bag. So we're going to have a coffee and conversation or a tea and talk. And then to make sure that I cover everybody that I possibly can, I'm missing one, it looks like. I have all 4 of your sweeteners, regular sugar, pure sugar in the raw, Splenda, sweet and low that goes in there. 1 delight, 1 creamer, lemon juice for the tea if you want that. 1 honey stick. And then 1 stir. I know it should probably be 2 stirs. I got to go fix that. But I show up on my listings with a gift. Thank you for inviting me into your home. It's simple. It's cheap. This little bag here comes out to be, I think it's $5. So for every listening appointment, it costs me $5 to take a gift. It's very impressionable. It sets the tone. They can do whatever they want with it. They can drink it. They can offer it to me. I'll drink it. I don't care. Take a gift. Send the thank you note in the mail, right? Have it ready to go. Throw the stamp on it, drop it in the mail, and be done with it if you want to. So, but do something to set yourself different from everybody else. And what a better icebreaker than and have a conversation. You need a story around your gift as well. My story, and the reason why I chose this is, as a single dad, I've always told my kids since they were young, if you ever need a talk, if it's one of those things, like we got to talk, like it's I don't know what it could be. I'm just saying, I'm like, just call me up, Dad, can we get coffee? If you call me and say, can we get coffee? I know we got to have a conversation about something. So I can now come into this conversation and be open-minded and say, hey, what's going on? We're in our safe space. We're having our coffee or tea, whatever the case may be. So there's a great story to go with the gift. You share that with them. Am I making connections, building a relationship? I would think so, right? All right, as we're coming up to the end, we do have one other little thing to go over. If you guys would not mind doing the survey real quick, I'm going to put my name in the chat. I am in the drop down. So our event type, I didn't have, again, you guys saw me, I got last minute, I wasn't able to adjust this and have that all the information up there. The event is, hold on, I got to put it up on the screen for you guys. The event is virtual, obviously. Instructor 1 is going to be me, and I just put my name into the chat for you guys. There are 2, I think there's 2, we might be up to 3. There's at least 2 mats in the drop down. I'm the better looking one. And then our Ignite session is session 15, Win the Seller. So if you guys would not mind either scanning that with your phones, if you're on your computer, you can go directly to kwueval.com and fill that out. I would greatly appreciate that. Feel free in the comment section, because there is a comment section. You get to rate me on a 1 to 5. By the way, the 1 is not best. 5 is actually better. I mean, I know I'm number 1, but don't use that number. It's not a positive number in this situation. And in the comment section, drop something in there, something that you took away. And you get an error on it. Just go to KWU eval. That'll probably be the easiest way to do it. So is it the QR code that's not working, or the actual eval link is not working? Take it down for later, or I'll email you guys tomorrow, whichever one. And in the comment section, share something that you took away, and feel free to put something in there that I can do. Really, 403 forbidden. That's not cool. All right. They must be having a problem with their eval link. I'll send it out to you guys just so you have it. So if you don't get it done tonight, that's fine. That's fine. But also provide a suggestion in the comment section about what I can do to improve to be a better presenter for you and everybody else that I present with as a KWU instructor. Also, real quick, I'm going to ask this question because I offered it up to the West Coast last night. There were some comments made around Zoom. By the way, don't be afraid to have a listing presentation on Zoom. Do I recommend it? No, because you should be inside of every house before you price a house and physically see the house. If they're able to walk you around and show it to you virtually, that's fine as well. DocuSign is able to be connected to Zoom, so you can actually do appointments on Zoom and get stuff signed right there on Zoom. If you are not a big Zoom person and you are like, what the heck? I have no idea what I'm doing in life. I'm lucky to get into your classes. Let me know if you would be interested. I just put my email in the chat. I'll put my phone number in there too for anybody that wants it. Send me an email. I offer it the West Coast because a lot of people are curious about Zoom, that I'd put together some type of Zoom training and how to best utilize Zoom in our business. I don't know when I'll get that class built. I'll work on it in the coming week or so because it is a priority. So if you're interested in that, shoot me an email and let me know, and I will send you out details on it. So, all right, last part, and we're going to finish this up, is your listing agreement. This goes back to what I said earlier on in the class, that you need to know your paperwork inside and out. The better you understand your listing agreement, even more so with the settlements from NAR right now, what are the rules? We all technically have the same rules, but every state is doing something a little bit different. Your paperwork is a little bit different. Every market center has got some different rules on it, of what you're doing with your compensation and things like that. And this is a very fluid situation. So know your listing agreements inside and out. Know your market inside and out. Make sure that you have a pulse on what's going on so that when you do go on these listing appointments, you can actually go on these appointments and have a very powerful and purposeful conversation with your people. Because without that, we're going to be kind of stuck and we're not going to be able to answer some of the questions that we need to answer. All right. With that, questions, comments, concerns, excitement, joy, pain, sorrow, any of the above or all the above. Anybody want to share an aha from tonight? Please come off mute, drop it in the chat, whichever one you want to do. I'd love to hear from you before we go.
My aha for tonight is adding a lead that will take action within 2 years as an opportunity in command. I really haven't been adding anybody. A moment for me. I will start doing that.
All right, cool. We're gonna. Oh, by the way, I'm back tomorrow. I think I told you guys I got a double header tomorrow. I got you guys from 6 to 8, and then I get an hour break. I'm gonna teach the West Coast again and do all the tech stuff for tomorrow. So come back and see me tomorrow. And for your friends that aren't here, because I know we've got like 600 people that have registered for this. If you know somebody who hasn't been showing up or isn't here, send them a note. Say you're missing out on some good stuff, and have them join us tomorrow. So one more aha before you guys run away, if you don't mind. I mean, one more big takeaway. Besides, Ashley is amazing at door knocking. And likes to get that. Y'all like my gift idea. You guys can steal it. It's all right. Rip off and duplicate. That's the way the world works. All right. All right, guys. Apologies for the mix up in the beginning with our emergency we had. Luckily, I was in a position to be able to jump on and do this, and I'm very happy to do it. So I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. And we're going to jump into the technology because it's Thursday. So we're going to have some tech fun. So as a tech trainer in general, we're going to be in command. So make sure you're in command and make sure you're ready to go. All right. Feel free to reach out if you need anything. Other than that, have a wonderful night and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.